I've always seen skateboarding as like a physical form of self-expression, almost like dance in a way.
I feel like skateboarding is like the one thing that just allows 100% like individuality. There's no one way to skateboard, there's no correct way to skateboard. You can kind of create that for yourself. So it's just kind of this really freeing thing.
I think shooting with someone, like as a skateboarder, you have to feel comfortable with them. It's almost like a trust thing, like you trust them and you know, it's okay if you don't make it right away, and it's kind of this vulnerable place actually. So yeah, once you nail it and then they get the shot, it's definitely a cool chemistry. My name's Mimi Noop. I'm a former professional skateboarder, and now I run my own consulting management agency for the women involved.
I'll stay there until they land the trick, because in my mind, that's gonna be the best photo, is when it all just comes together, and it's like the most rewarding process to look down and be like, we got it. My name is Zora Olivia, and I'm a skateboard photographer. I just remember seeing a lot of skaters around Baltimore, and I was always really intrigued by it. And so I went to skateboard camp when I was 10 years old. It's called Camp Woodward in Pennsylvania. They started a photography program at camp, and I remember seeing a bunch of kids walking around with cameras, and I was like, oh, I need to do that. And I immediately went from like my instruction group with skating down to the front office, and I switched into that program. And so after my first week there, they offered me an internship, so that allowed me to go back to camp for free. And so I just worked in the photo program for like 4 years after that.
So I met Zora a few years back, you know, looking for photographers to come to X Games and help shoot our events. And so Zora ended up being one of those photographers. You know, it was just this, you know, smiling face that would show up at our events after a while. And then she ended up moving to Los Angeles, and then I started seeing her around more and just tried to kind of guide her and help her as much as I can. Just, you know, also being from the East Coast and moving out here and knowing how difficult that is.
It was really hard at first. Los Angeles is really isolating, especially when you don't know anybody. But she's almost like a mother figure to all of us. Like, she's just really just kind-hearted, and she's really paved the way for female skateboarding. I feel like people see skating as this rebellious, crude thing. There is part of skating that is like that, but you can't categorize skating.
You know, for me, growing up, I never gave it much thought. I think mainly because my parents never pointed it out. I would say I noticed it more when I got into skating professionally. The opportunities weren't the same for the men and women in skateboarding.
You know, I was always the only girl at the skate park. You know, it's like this spectacle almost. Like when you walk in, it's like every guy's got to turn around and be like, oh, there's a girl there. So it was this feeling of you're being watched. And now it kind of feels like you go to the skate park and there's 3 or 4 girls or even more. And it's like this beautiful thing to witness that, you know, we're finally getting to a point where it's just skateboarding. It doesn't matter, you know, what gender you are, you know, it's just skating. It just feels like family. Like when I'm with the Mull brothers and that whole crew, the Warble crew, I really do feel like I'm part of the family.
You know, there's no clear path to create a career in skateboarding for boys or girls. It's very much a gray area, and a lot of kids have approached me and, you know, said, what do I do? How can I become a pro skateboarder? Really, all I've ever said is just, if you love skateboarding, keep doing what you're doing, you know? Just
from what I've seen, skateboarders just kind of have this all or nothing kind of attitude where it's they'll fall hard dozens of times and they'll get up because of that commitment to what they're doing. Because some skaters make it look so easy just because their style is almost flawless in a way. But definitely it's not as easy as it looks, and there's years of hard work and, you know, injuries and everything like that to get to where they are. If you believe in something, it's possible. It doesn't mean it's gonna happen, but it's all based on the power of belief, and that goes from landing a new trick to creating a new business to, you know, running an event, whatever it may be.
You just have to like set the intention and go for it, and that's how it happens.
If I could tell a young, aspiring female skateboard photographer, one piece of advice, I would tell them to never give up. And if you want it bad enough, you'll make it happen. It's all about your determination, and it's really about being vulnerable and putting yourself in a place where you can go to a skate park and ask, because more often than not, they're going to be just as excited that you're asking to shoot a photo of them. Because most skateboarders will never have a photo of them skating. So just be vulnerable. Use that creative part of your brain to just like figure out how to make it work. But it's definitely not easy, but it's the only thing in my life that I want to do. If you're motivated and you really love it, like you'll make it work. Like there's not one other thing that I can think of that would fulfill me. I owe it all to skateboarding.